Well, hello there and happy Monday motivation. Welcome to another episode of No More Excuses podcast, where I break through barriers and empower you to achieve your biggest, most badass goals. I'm your host, Sandi, the badass business coach. Thanks for being here, for listening, for sharing the podcast. If you haven't, please do, and for investing in you. And yes, it's tax day. So I doubt any CPAs are out there listening. But if you do listen to this afterward, thank you for what you do. Good luck. I hope you finish strong. And I know there's always a few things you have to do afterward, but go get a nap, get a bourbon, get some wine. Just do what you need to do. But thank you for keeping us all the business owners, I don't know, as far as tax-free, as far as we can legally. And thanks for putting up with the IRS for us. So that's not what we're talking about today, but I just wanted to give a little shout out to all the CPAs out there. So today I want to dive into the second quarter. Yes, mid-April. It's the second quarter, people, if you haven't noticed. And I want to talk about how to kick things into high gear to make this year your most successful yet. But we've got to break it down into quarters, right? Any big goal, you got to make progress. And how are you making progress if you don't take it one little bite at a time, right? And yes, this podcast is right on the coattails of making sure you understand the importance of a business plan, because some people don't. And I've had clients that argue with me about it, but it is what it is, right? And if you have a plan, you probably or should have progress checks in there. You'll have your marketing plan, you'll have your goals in there, and your plan on how to achieve those goals, right? Yet the answer is yes. You should be saying, yes, Sandi, I do. However, I want to make sure you're really digging in and checking in that. So if you did not do your business plan, you don't have one, maybe you have an old one, don't forget, get on my website, badassbusiness.coach, scroll to the bottom or towards the bottom, and there's a little spot where it'll say, download the business plan here, put your information in there, and boom, you have the business plan I use, and I use it with all my clients. So please do that. All right. So yes, it's a second quarter, a time of renewal, growth, and opportunity. But how the hell do you make the most of it? How the hell do you make the most of this renewal? It's spring, right? Talked about that a couple weeks ago. Spring cleaning, getting rid of the shit that no longer serves you. So what are you renewing? What's growing? What opportunities are out there? Well, that's why we're here. We're here to talk about it, find out. So if you're not driving, out running, walking, riding your bike, grab a pen, strap in, grab a cocktail, and get ready to ramp things up like a badass, because you are here for a reason. So let's make the most of it. So before we charge ahead into the second quarter, let's take a quick moment to reflect on the first quarter. Yes, I brought that up again. Why? Because my guess is you thought about the first quarter. You might have peeked at your goal sheet, but did you really review it? Did you really dig in? I did a talk at a chamber event at the first week, and I asked everybody to raise their hands. Who has done a full review on their first quarter goal? One person out of about 40 people. One. I even gave them time and was like, come on, don't be shy. One fucking person reviewed their goals. They should have been lined up to work with me. But usually if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're not going to do what you're supposed to do, what you need to do, what you say you're going to do, right? So regardless, you are going to. So don't forget, download the business plan from my website, badassbusiness.coach, and review your first quarter goals. Look at what went well, what went to shit, what lessons did you learn, right? And if there was something that did not happen, say you did not make any progress, you're just like, oh dear God, I'm so off track. What happened? Because life happens, shit happens. You get sick, somebody else gets sick. Weather, I don't know, as long as it's not an excuse, because this is no more excuses. Look at what happened, right? but also what went well. Give yourself credit, even if it's a little baby step, right? You got to reflect on your wins and losses from the first quarter, because that will help you set a solid foundation for success moving forward. Okay, did you have a first quarter goal? If not, did you make progress on your bigger goals? You should break it down quarter by quarter, even month by month. Okay. So, how'd you do on that first quarter goal or progress? Like I said, did something happen? Did something get you off track? You got to check your progress to make sure you're creating momentum. And that's what's going to keep you going. The momentum and motivation, they work very well together, right? And so now that you've taken the time to reflect, you can always pause this and go reflect on your goals and then come back or just listen in. Now that you've reflected on the first quarter, it's time to set some big ass goals for the second quarter. Some big ass goals that are going to help you achieve your big goal for the year. Yes, you should have your goals set for the year. And now let's make sure you have a plan in place to achieve them. Breaking down the bigger goals into smaller ones, quarterly ones, like I said, monthly ones, you'll have a hell of a lot better chance of achieving them. Instead of just saying, I'm going to lose 40 pounds, or I'm going to make, I'm going to quarter or double my income or quadruple my income, or I'm going to increase my client base by 10, how, right? How? And if you're going to increase your client base by 10 for the year, that's how many per quarter do you want, right? So think about that. That's so much easier than just saying the big number. And hell yeah, when you scream hell yeah, that is what I want to hear and what you should want to hear when you start making progress and you feel that energy from making progress on that goal, right? You got to have goals that scare the shit out of you just a little bit. The ones that, make you have a little, lump in your throat, make your stomach hurt a little bit, make you think, what the fuck am I doing? All right. But you're here and there's a reason why. So big goals will help you take bigger action and will get you into this bigger world of results. All right. So let's talk about how to turn these big ass goals into reality. Big goals can be intimidating. I'm telling you, I get it. But here's the thing. Every big goal is made up of the smaller ones. Have I said that enough? And more manageable tasks. Breaking down your bigger goals into bite-sized little chunks and tackle them one at a time. That's why I'm here to tell you today. I'm on my soapbox, making sure you are on track and heading in the right direction. That way, before you know it, you'll be making some serious ass progress towards crushing those big ass goals. And if you don't have a quarterly goal, or at least monthly, you'll tend not to check on your progress, right? You'll just be thinking about it. It's just there. It's like, okay, 10 new clients, 40 pounds, quadrupled income. It's April 15th. I made a little progress. I'm not sure what worked. I'm not sure how I did it, or I didn't. I actually lost 2 clients. So what happened? You've got to do this. And accountability is the secret sauce. It's better than the freaking Big Mac sauce to help you achieve your goals. All right. Find yourself an accountability buddy, a friend, a colleague, a coach, someone who will hold your feet to the fire and keep you on track. Share your goals with them, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second. Check in regularly and celebrate your progress together. Having someone, like a workout buddy, right? There's people that do that all the time because, I see people at the gym where you can tell, legitimately looking at their watch, looking at the clock, waiting on someone, and they come in, sorry. Hey, but guess what? They're there. Now, the second part is helping them get there on time, but let's say they're there, right? So having that buddy that helps you, hey, how's business? How is it going? Did you go to that networking event? Most people don't like to share their goals with someone for 2 reasons. A friend, a family member, or whatever. And this is why. Because It's real. Yes. Soon as it's out of your mouth, it's fucking real. And now you have to do it. And I'll talk about that in a second. The people also that you share it with may not support your efforts or understand your goal. Okay, so personally, I've dealt with both of these things. I've had people call me out on shit. When my daughter graduated, I had at least 3 friends say, "Thought you were moving. When are you moving? What's your plan?" Well, yes, I said I was going to move out of Indianapolis, Indiana, when my daughter graduated high school and when she went off to college, especially because she was moving out here to California, where I am now. And it took me 6 years after she came out here to get here, but I got here. But they called me out because I told them years ago. And guess what? That's why I wrote my first book, From There to Here, because I didn't have my shit together. I didn't have a plan. I said I was going to do a lot of things, but I didn't know how. I didn't know if I wanted to move to California or Arizona or Nevada or whatever, because I really hadn't done anything to figure that out, right? I didn't have the plan. They called me on it, but they were supportive of it. There are some people who have friends that are not, and I've had clients who their spouse is not an entrepreneur. They cannot talk about this stuff with them. That's why they're my client, right? And then I've also had people not understand with the entrepreneurial stuff say, why don't you go get a real job? And I've told some prospects and clients that they probably shouldn't be business owners. My other half, the man candy, he's not a great business owner. I'm so thankful and grateful that he has this amazing job right now. So, I've dealt with it personally myself. People calling me out on my goals, and they were supportive of it. And people, sometimes family, that said, why don't you just go get a real job? Well, my business is my job, asshole. And if you're a business owner, it's your real job as well, right? I don't care if you're making $1 or $1,000,001. So I'm sure you can understand. So like I said, I've had clients that are in that same world, right? And there was a prospect, there's been a couple that I've been like, let's talk through this. Why do you want to own a business? And one that I'm so glad the bank turned down. So sorry, not sorry. They said it was going to be fun and it was going to be a restaurant, not a big full-on restaurant, but mostly a takeout, small, a couple seats to sit at and eat. But regardless, 4 little ones, 4 under the age of 6 or 7, I believe. Yes, a supportive wife with the idea. Who knows once it got going, right? But this person also did not have any true restaurant experience. Had worked in a restaurant, but had no management experience, no real restaurant experience with ordering or any of that. Just had a great idea. He did have a cool idea. But banks are not going to fund a fun idea without backing, any kind of backup, without money, without business acumen, without collateral. So anyway, he listened, but he still went forward, got his financials, had help from his sister, but there weren't many financials there. I helped him with the business plan. And the bank, like I said, did turn him down because he did not have the experience. And then I had a client that was a client. We were working on one part of his business, and he wanted to buy a franchise, wanted to buy something else because he thought it'd be quick money. It'd be an easy thing. And they were tied together. But I said, no, let's get this part together first. Let's get your shit together with this first. What did he do? Went over there. Guess what? He doesn't have that anymore. Doesn't have that franchise anymore. I don't know what he's doing because he's ghosted me because he didn't listen. He wouldn't listen to anything I would say. He wouldn't listen to anything his other peers would say, his staff would say. And he also just wouldn't do anything with accountability. People ask, how do you hold somebody accountable? Well, they've got to want to be held accountable, right? They have to want to do the things that they say they're going to do. And a lot of times it's just, oh shit, I'm meeting with Sandi tomorrow, I better get my shit done. That's accountability. But this guy, no. Anyway, so it happens, right? And then I have two clients. One ended up getting divorced because his wife is not an entrepreneur and just kept saying, why don't you get a real job? I don't see you bringing in any money. He wasn't really listening to me on some things, but that's okay. He was making progress, but he finally ended up just giving up on, unfortunately, his marriage. They just could not get it together because he really wanted to be an entrepreneur, and he's successful as hell now. He finally did listen, I should say. And I gave him zero advice about the divorce. That was on him. He just showed up one day and said, we're getting a divorce. And that sucks. But there are some times where somebody you think is your best friend doesn't understand enough to believe in you. So that's my big soapbox on be careful who you tell, be careful who you talk about with. And that doesn't mean you can't talk about your business with your friends. Just be careful. And if, it's just it's probably a whole nother conversation, but you just have to be careful with what you share and how you share it with, because if you have a bad day or you lose 2 clients, and someone doesn't understand what it means and that having a business is a real job, they're going to suggest you going to get a real job. So anyway, let's stay focused. Let's do this, right? So let's talk about taking the action to make shit happen so you don't have to go get a real job, a 9-to-5 bullshit job, right? If you want to achieve bigger goals, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Get out of that fuzzy slipper, favorite t-shirt and jeans world. Take that step. That means, like I said, stepping out of your comfort zone, but also taking risks, pushing yourself beyond your limits. And remember, this is the No More Excuses podcast, and growth happens outside of your comfort zone. So embrace the discomfort and watch yourself succeed. And no more excuses, pretty much how I coach. I'll be your biggest cheerleader, and I'll be the first one up your ass if you're not doing what you say you're going to do. So pick your poison. I'd rather high five you. So another big part of achieving your goals is hustle. I don't have my hustle t-shirt on today. I wore it last week. So go look at it. It says hustle, and it's got all these fun little words in it to make up the word hustle. It's not just about working harder. Hustle is about working smarter. And we've heard that. Don't work harder, work smarter. What the hell does that mean? Well, prioritize your tasks. Focus on high impact activities and eliminate the distractions like a fucking badass. Hustle with purpose, hustle with passion, and watch the results just roll in. Oh, prioritizing tasks, the mother load. It's a daily occurrence for me. You get less of a chance that shit's going to go sideways during the day if you stay focused, and you're staying focused because you've prioritized your tasks. And, I understand. All it takes is one phone call, one unexpected pissed off customer to walk through the door, or text you, call you, email you, put a bad Google review out there, and your whole day can go to shit. But if you have your to-do list, you might not be checking your email or text until the proper time. You've got to get through and got to stay focused on priorities. Now, I'm not saying you don't want to help a pissed off customer, especially if they walk through that door. But if they aren't walking through that door, you can check with them and handle it in a better frame of mind. And if you do decide to jump in because they're right in front of you, or they've called 52 times, handle the situation, and your prioritized to-do list will help you get back on track, right? Your day can get set on fire, and not in a good way, with anything, because shit happens. But remember, nothing's perfect. And nothing will get done if you don't prioritize. Yes, there's days where I don't get things done, or I think I didn't get something done, I'm like, what did I do today? Because I didn't follow my list. When I don't get something done, I look at, like, if it's a project, a talk, or a workshop I'm trying to finish up to record for my podcast or website and my podcast, I guess, but also whatever it does. I don't care if it's prepping for a meeting. If I don't get it done, it's because it either wasn't on the to-do list or it wasn't prioritized properly. So I prioritize every evening. And so I know exactly what I'm going to do. So this morning, before I went on my bike ride, I looked and I was like, all right, when I get back, I've got these 3 things to do. And that's the thing, 3 things. I do 3 things and then I look at my big list and reprioritize once I get those 3 things done. All right. Talked about that so much over the years. So what about you? You've got to share. How did your first quarter go? Did you need to make any changes, or do you need to make any changes? Do you need to play bigger? Your big ass challenge of the week is to make sure you've scheduled time on your calendar, and I want you to prove it. Take a snapshot of your calendar. So are you going to look at your goals weekly, monthly? I would suggest at least monthly. I want to see you block time out and take that time to just go over everything that you've done, what's happened. Again, like I said, what's worked, what's not worked, what's gone wrong, what's gone right. Self high five yourself. I don't care if it's 1 little inch of a step. All right. The quote I love, and I've used a lot of times and said a lot of times, get off your ass and do something your future self will thank you for. So will you? So, well, guys, listeners, thank you. That's all the time we have for today's episode of No More Excuses. I hope you're feeling inspired to ramp things up and achieve bigger, badass goals this second quarter. And thank you for being here and investing in you. I look forward to hearing from you. Cheers.